So good day, I am Paul Antonio Novate, a BS ECE 3 student, and I will share my video presentation about the introduction to digital electronics. So the first question you were tasked to answer is that why do we need to study digital electronics? So digital electronics or digital electronic circuits are electronics that operate on digital signals. These digital techniques are helpful because it is a lot easier to make an electronic device to switch into one of a number of known states than to accurately reproduce a continuous range of values. So another reason is that digital electronics is very important in today's life because digital circuits compared to analog circuits have that kind of signals that are represented digitally and can be transmitted without degradation due to noise. So the significance of digital electronics is that it is inherently more reliable than analog in terms of information processing. Digital electronics can help students like us to study circuits and make the practical possible application of circuits in day-to-day life. So another info. So in the era of vacuum tubes, these logic circuits were built using bulky and unreliable components such as transistors, resistors, and vacuum tubes. These components existed individually, and circuits built using these components did not perform well as expected. It is mainly due to the fact that inter there are interconnection issues that were common in these circuits. The development of integrated circuits played a significant role in solving the problems of logic circuits. These integrated circuits facilitated the place of a large number of transistors and on a single chip, and this is where the digital electronics paved the way from its predecessor, uh, the analog electronics. So the next is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of digital electronics compared to analog electronics? So first, let's tackle about the advantages. So the first we have is that digital circuits generate a digital signal which is more reliable than analog signals, as I just told a while ago. The effect of distortion, noise, and interference is much less in digital signals as they are less affected, and in terms of performance, it is really digital electronics that is above in the performance than its counterpart, the analog. Digital circuits are more reliable, it is also stated, and digital circuits are easy to design and cheaper than analog circuits. You don't need a lot of materials compared to creating analog circuits wherein they have bulky and heavy materials. The hardware implementation in digital circuits is more flexible than analog. The signal is unaltered, as the pulse needs a high disturbance to alter its properties, which is very difficult. So signal processing functions such as encryption and compression are employed in digital circuits to maintain the secrecy of information. That is, all of these are possible due to digital electronics. So if there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. So we will discuss them here. So the first, a higher bandwidth is required for implementing digital communication signals when compared to analog transmission of the same information. Next is digital signal processing processes the signal at high speeds and comprises more top internal hardware resources. This results in higher power dissipation compared to analog signal processing, which includes passive components that consume less energy. Next, digital systems are processing are typically more complex than its analog counterpart. So analog signals are easier to process, which is also supports the statement above. Analog signals are best suited for audio and video transmission. Right, sorry. And analog signals are much higher in density and can present more refined information. So after the advantages disadvantages, we proceed to the next question. What are some applications of analog electronics that were replaced by digital electronics? So the eminent one I can think is that the wall clock. So there are still wall clocks that have this design. It's the analog, and the modern one, which is the digital, which tells more accurate time. So the next one I can think of is uh, the television, which decades ago it looks like this. It's bulky, it has an antenna, and now it's thin, it's slim, and provides a wider viewer experience. So the main reason these two differ is that the big difference between the analog and digital television is that the digital signals are transmitted from the source to the TV in your home. Meanwhile, the analog TVs transmit audio and video signals over the airwaves in a manner similar to a radio signal. So their big difference is how they transmit the signals, and the digital is far better, and it is really widely take over its analog TV predecessor, and very few TVs like the analog exist in this modern world. So next is another eminent uh, uh, comparison I can find: the digital multimeter and the analog multimeter. So you can see in the our laboratory, right? We can use both. We can still use analog and digital multimeters. So I'll discuss the difference. An analog or digital multimeter is a tool used to measure the current, voltage, and resistance. So the primary difference between these two devices is that an analog multimeter uses a needle, which is shown here. And this needle is where you can predict or read the display of the various parameters such as voltage, current, and etc. Meanwhile, the digital multimeter will show the results as a number, as is shown here. It is now you don't need to estimate what's shown in the needle, and there is that's really in terms of convenience, digital multimeter is really a great replacement. So another prominent examples is the music players, wherein these music play these music players are really have been set apart because it's not bulky. It can be it is pocket size. So the next is the digital multimeter, also same. It uses digital a screen to flash the temperature. You don't need to estimate what the temperature is being read. So the fourth and last is the we were tasked to look around and take a picture of different applications of digital electronics. So as you can see, it is really digital electronics is really everywhere, every corner of your house. We have the laptop, smartphones, the wireless headset, which is really a trend right now. Wireless devices, printers, appliances at home, another refrigerators, digital thermometers, smart TV, and a remote control, which is really these devices are really can be seen anywhere in our homes. And that's it. And thank you for listening to my video presentation. I hope you liked it.